Please note that if you purchase something by clicking on a link within this story, we may receive a small commission of the sale. As Stephanie works out the logistics of a scene for her murder mystery book, she holds out a finger gun and playfully shoots Alex as he enters the living room. He preferred the research of her romance novel and scoops her up in his arms. Their makeout session hits pause, so Alex can ask for her help with Titan DiMera PR should details on the Phlilip scandal come out. He knows it's a huge ask and understands if she doesn't want to. She reluctantly agrees to do it, but not for Xander, for him. With that settled, Alex fills Stephanie in on the frat boy prank that led to his police record, which her father dug up. Amused, Stephanie teases she'll work that into her next story. Later, she entices Alex by wearing a toga. She returns down the hall and tosses the sheet back at him. Gabby comes to Steve's office, worried that her Titan DiMera bosses are freaking out over the Freedom of Information Act he filed. Steve thinks it's a good thing because all the paperwork he received checks out. So if they're freaking out, that means they're hiding something. Belle and Phlilip run into each other in the square and talk about Johnny's case. Belle hopes she didn't do too good a job and that he'll be found not guilty. Phlilip heard about what EJ did to her in court and feigns sympathy for their breakup, which Belle sees right through. Regardless, if she needs someone to lean on, he's there for her. Gabby approaches as the old friends/exes sit with coffee. Belle leaves to meet Steve, leaving Gabby to oh so innocently invite Phlilip to lunch to chat about work. Leery of her motives, Phlilip asks if she's the one trying to blow up the Titan DiMera merger. Gabby swears on her daughter's life that she didn't file the FOIA request. Phlilip believes her, for now, and agrees to lunch minus any shop talk. In Steve's office, Belle notes it's the first time she's been to Black Patch since her father died. She studies a desk photo of Steve and John and wipes away tears as Steve recalls their first case together. As for why he called her there, Steve asks if she knows anything about Phlilip doing something squirrely with the family business. Belle is sorry, but she can't help, invoking attorney/client privilege. After she leaves, Steve calls Paul to see if the ESA can get the original court records from the court case where Phlilip ended up with half of Titan. After a replay of EJ's revelation that Rachel shot him, EJ drops to his desk chair, stunned. Marlena sends Rachel out of the room, realizing EJ remembered. She didn't know for sure Rachel was the culprit, but she suspected. EJ rants about Rachel letting Johnny take the fall for her crime. Marlena counters that Rachel has dissociative amnesia and doesn't remember shooting him. They have to be careful about how this comes out so as not to cause irreparable damage. Calming down, EJ pours himself a drink. He knows Rachel didn't mean to pull the trigger. She just wanted to know where her grandma was, so he only has himself to blame. After Kristen consoles Rachel, she joins them wondering what's going on. EJ gently tells his sister that Rachel is his shooter. An incensed Kristen refuses to believe it until EJ calmly takes her through the night's events. Marlena interjects that this explains the nightmares and the upset stomach. As Kristen's anger turns to anguish, EJ says he can't sacrifice his son for her daughter. Alone with EJ, Kristen tearfully begs her brother not to go to the police. EJ obviously doesn't want to turn her in, but his son's freedom is on the line. EJ loves Rachel, but he will not let his son go down for something she did. Unless Kristen can come up with another way to free his son, he will have no other choice but to reveal the truth. But will he? Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week of August 25, 29 reveal that Phlilip Kyriakis will find himself a new bedroom partner while Kristen DiMera's prison return plan panics Rachel Black. Let's discuss some of the stunning moments that Days has in store. After Kristen loses it in the courtroom, she may claim she's the one who pulled the trigger on EJ DiMera. It should be Kristen's desperate attempt to keep Rachel and almost everyone else in the dark on what really played out. Of course, EJ now recalls that Rachel confronted him over Rachel Blake's whereabouts, but she didn't actually mean to fire at him. Even so, the trauma of it all was too much for Rachel, who developed dissociative amnesia as a way to cope in the aftermath. However, Foster recently gave Rachel a book about a young heroine whose key is trapped inside her own mind. Will something in that book help Rachel unlock the memory she's buried? Regardless, Rachel may freak out when she gets updates on Kristen's confession and her plan to head back to prison. Day's spoilers say this won't make any sense to Rachel since Kristen swore she wasn't at fault for EJ's ordeal. At some point, Rachel may face a memory flood and realize she's to blame for almost wiping EJ out permanently. Will Rachel come forward with the whole story and work to clear Kristen's name? Speaking of cleared names, Johnny DiMera will have a lot to celebrate once he's officially done with all this legal drama. DOOL spoilers indicate that Johnny and Chanel Dupree DiMera will breathe a sigh of relief, but a fresh scandal is ahead for this couple soon. While Steve Johnson's Titan DiMera investigation heats up, Stephanie Johnson will face some new challenges now that she's agreed to help with the company's PR in case of disaster. As for Gabby Hernandez, Day's spoilers say she may go overboard in her attempt to score information. Gabby may surprise even herself by her willingness to hit the sheets with Phlilip, who'll wake up in bed next to her. Although Gabby will try to focus on her career goals, she may mix a little business with pleasure. Gabby and Phlilip seem poised to let passion erupt on more than one occasion, so we'll bring you news on any messes that result. Days of Our Lives spoilers say the week of August 25th to 29 will bring some excitement as several storylines get even hotter. Welcome to the Days of Our Lives Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. The reveal that Rachel is the one who shot EJ was not a surprise, but it was well done and filled with all of those gut-wrenching, soapy emotions that make us love soaps. The most heartbreaking moment came when EJ and Marlena gently told Kristen that her daughter shot her brother. While Kristen will forever be a vixen, having Rachel has certainly mellowed her. It's clear she will do anything for her child. Watching her anguish made us see how far Kristen has come since 2020, when Rachel was born. Kristen may have used nefarious methods to become pregnant, but the result of that dirty trick has improved her morals somewhat. Rachel even brought out EJ's humanity as he grappled with the fact that his own niece shot him. After all this, it was only a child desperate to find her grandmother. As Rachel told Uncle EJ she was sorry for breaking the glass paperweight, you could also hear her telling EJ she was sorry for shooting him. Deep down, Rachel knows what she did, and Kristen appears to know what she is going to have to do. For a soap that started the year giving us the worst version of a soap within a soap imaginable, Days of Our Lives redeemed itself with the Who Shot EJ story. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full DOOL recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not. Seriously, do not. Forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is, if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, August 20th reveal that Kristen DiMera will reel over Rachel Black pulling the trigger, while EJ DiMera decides his next move. At the DiMera mansion, EJ just flashed back to the night he was shot and now remembers Rachel was the guilty party. Based on the look Marlena Evans had on her face, she seemingly knows EJ must have realized the truth. Days spoilers say EJ and Marlena will talk about this Rachel twist in private. Marlena will weigh in on the situation, but it'll be EJ who ultimately has to decide his next move. Despite EJ's desire to protect Rachel, he can't let Johnny DiMera potentially go to prison for this. That's why EJ will prepare to confess what he's recalled and work to get Johnny off the hook for the crime. As for Kristen on Wednesday's DOOL episode, she won't be able to ignore some evidence that points in Rachel's direction. Kristen may think back on that night as well and realize Rachel indeed must have been the trigger puller. Days spoilers say, Kristen will scramble to stop EJ from coming forward with what he's remembered, but she may end up having to take drastic action later this week. Will Kristen claim she's responsible instead in an effort to protect Rachel? Over with Steve Johnson, he'll have some news for Gabby Hernandez regarding his Titan DiMera investigation. According to Days spoilers, Alex Kyriakis will also attempt to recruit Stefania Johnson for some PR work, but that may be a tough sell. Between Stephanie's connection to Phlilip Kyriakis the fraud and her knowledge of Steve's digging, she'll have multiple reasons to decline Alex's request. Even so, Alex may try to guilt-trip Stephanie a bit since he's been so helpful with all her book prep. Finally, Phlilip will have a conversation with Belle and offer some support now that she's dumped EJ. Since Phlilip will believe Belle deserves a better man, he'll be sure to let her know it. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Belle will resolve to move forward and never look back when it comes to EJ. So stay tuned for updates on whether she'll keep that vow. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Tuesday, August 19th. Hint that there'll be a Rachel Black shooter revelation when EJ DiMera has a horrifying flashback. Johnny DiMera will also make a plea to the jury when it's time for closing statements, so here's what DOOL fans can expect. For starters, Days spoilers say Chad DiMera will spend some time strengthening his connection with Kat Green. Although Chad's worried that Kat might be getting back together with an ex named James, he doesn't have the real story. Kat just had to make up an excuse to explain away Rafe Hernandez's soup delivery, so Chad doesn't really have to fret over a former flame. Chad is the one Kat truly wants, so she may find a way to let him know that soon enough. In the meantime, Chanel Dupree DiMera will go through cross-examination before closing statements are made in court. Now that Johnny is representing himself, he'll talk about his innocence and make a plea for the jury to see the reasonable doubt in this case. Other Days spoilers say Marlena Evans will hang out with Rachel while the trial continues, so that'll bring a trip to the bookstore. Rachel will chat with Foster, who'll also have a conversation with Julie Williams about the sale of the bookstore. It looks like Julie will move forward with buying it, so that'll give her a new sense of purpose and something to pour her heart into. Marlena may get updates on Julie's big news sooner or later, but they'll also have a catch-up session about all the drama in their families. Finally, Days spoilers say EJ seems poised to have an awful realization thanks to a very revealing flashback. Rachel will end up playing with a bauble at the DiMera mansion, so she might drop it and create a noise that mimics the sound of a gunshot. Will that trigger a memory flood for EJ and cause him to remember Rachel herself fired at him that night? It's certainly looking that way since Days of Our Lives spoilers confirm EJ's true shooter will be revealed to viewers on Tuesday's show. Kristen is behind it all. SoapHub predicted Rachel as EJ's shooter on Days of Our Lives over a week ago, and the August 20th episode just confirmed our suspicions. Here's why, as the song goes, we knew it was Rachel all along. First, we've been watching soaps for a long time, and when even my non-Days of Our Lives watching husband noticed to ask, why do they keep playing that kid? It was pretty obvious where the story was going. Second, pinning the crime on a kid means the show could have their cake and eat it too. They could claim they played fair, and the shooter was a regular character, not some random stranger passing through with no connection to the victim, while at the same time, not having to get rid of a key, adult Salem citizen. Rachel will likely just get a slap on the wrist, followed by an ice cream cone and a reminder that she's the best girl ever, if she has to face any consequences at all. And that brings us to why we really knew this would be Rachel. EJ remembered who tried to kill him when Rachel insisted on playing with a glass paperweight, even after Marlena told her not to, and then was shocked when she ended up dropping and breaking it. Rachel was stunned by what had happened. She couldn't understand how it had happened, and she certainly couldn't understand why anyone would blame her for it. And that's Rachel. She is chastised not to do something, she does it anyway, because she's Rachel and Kristen has made it clear to her that she can do whatever she wants, and anyone who tries to hinder her in any way is just a tool of the patriarchy. And then, when it goes wrong, she's been told that nothing is ever her fault, so she's confused why anyone might want to punish her for it. Will Rachel get away with her crime? Again? Days of Our Lives spoilers for Thursday, August 21st prove that truth is a rare commodity in Salem. Kristen and Marlena put protecting Rachel over pretty much anything else, while Sarah urges Sophia to come clean about her own lies. As SoapHub predicted back on August 13th, EJ's shooter, the she his conscious mind wouldn't allow him to recall, is Rachel. Considering it's not even the brat's first attempt at murder, she was a party to killing Ava so her mommy and daddy could reunite and live happily ever after. No one should really be surprised. Yet, Kristen still is. She intends to protect her little darling from the consequences of this action, the same way she protected her from all the previous ones. Kristen begs EJ not to use Rachel to save Johnny. Surely her daughter is much more important than his son, and EJ should realize that. Meanwhile, Marlena tries to keep Rachel safe, but we can only hope she chooses to do it in a more psychologically healthy way. Sarah told Sophia the truth when she explained that she can't divulge Sophia's private medical information unless she believes Sophia is about to harm herself or someone else. But Sarah also thinks it would be good for Sophia to unburden herself and share her secret with her family and with Tate, who is also suffering. Brady tries to comfort his son, but Tate won't rest until he meets his daughter, which is where Sophia's honesty would come in handy. Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that people are starting to connect the dots regarding Sophia Choi's baby. Tate Black seeks legal advice. Plus, Sarah Horton Kyriakis will continue to feel guilty about deceiving Brady Black. Then, there are other people who are getting suspicious as well. So, let's get started talking about this storyline. Ever since Sophia gave up her child, she's been having a hard time. A lot of people are hating on her right now, but she's also a teenager who was alone at the time of giving birth. There were a few times when Sophia wanted to tell the truth. However, Melinda Trask stopped her each time, offering a solution to the problem. It's really similar to what happened with Sloane Peterson as well. Sophia is young, and her hormones were bouncing all over the place. Melinda is a grown woman and a lawyer who knows better. Then we have Tate, who is insisting on meeting his child. Tate tried to write a letter to the fake adoptive parents. However, Melinda wrote back, rejecting Tate's request. It is teased that Tate and Holly Jonas will seek Belle Black's legal advice. Belle might say that she wants to see the original adoption contact. That could poke some holes in Sophia's story, especially since she initially claimed it was an open adoption. If it was an open adoption, then wouldn't Tate have a physical address or at least a last name? Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that during the week of August 18, 2025, Brady questions Sarah. It is also stated that Sarah tries to push Sophia into telling the truth. So, there are already a few different people that could blow the lid on this adoption secret. Over with Amy Choi, she is already getting suspicious. Not only is she worried about Sophia's mental health, but she is drawn to Tesoro. The woman mentioned that Tesoro looks exactly like Sophia's little brother. Amy isn't the only one who is suspicious. It seems that Javi Hernandez is already beginning to connect the dots. So, with all these players in Sophia's baby story, how will the truth come out? With these kinds of storylines, it's usually a medical crisis that exposes the truth. We saw when Tesoro was first born, he had a crying fit. Nothing was discovered then, but Tesoro could still have a hidden medical problem. If that happens, then Sophia might not have any choice but to come forward. What happens when everyone realizes the truth? Days of Our Lives. Spoilers reveal that Brady Black will question Sarah Horton. Will Brady get to the truth about the baby? Sarah has been Sophia's doctor for months. Sarar also has all of the records from the hospital where Sarah has gone for checkups. Sophia is acting shady enough that anyone should know what is going on. Sophia has been lying to everyone she knows from the time this baby was born. Sarah checked the records and realized that this baby was a boy, not a girl. Sophia is torturing everyone by keeping them from this child. It is even worse that Sophia everything about this baby from his father. Going along with Melinda Trask and keeping Tate from his child is just cruel, and Sarah knows that. Could Sarah allow Brady and Tate to see the sex of the baby so they can investigate from there? Sarah feels very bad that she is having to go along with all of these lies. Sarah knows what happened, and that nothing Tate is being told is true. Sarah cannot tell Tate and his family anything. However, Sarah could accidentally leave a tablet open with the baby's sex on it and accidentally make sure that Tate or Brady gets a look at it. If Sarah does this, of course, Sophia could accuse her of breaking confidentiality laws. However, Sarah cannot go out with Brady and continue to lie to him. Will Sarah finally convince Sophia to open up and tell the truth about the baby? Will Tate ever know his child and truly get to make a decision about where he ends up? Brady could want to discuss something completely different. What i.e. Brady wants to discuss Sarah and Xander Cook instead. Sarah has admitted that she still loves Xander. Brady knows that he and Sarah didn't make it too far the last time they dated. Does Sarah and Brady have a chance of making it this time? Sarah doesn't truly want to be away from Xander no matter what she says. However, Xander's lies are really no different from Sarah's. Will Sarah continue to drag this out, or go on as we have seen fit? Whatever Sarah and Brady talk about, the truth has to come out sometime. Is the beginning of the end of Sophia's lies? It's all up to Leo. Days of Our Lives spoilers photos for the August 21st, 2025 tease a verdict thanks to Leo. Now that the trial has come to an end, it's time for the jury to make their verdict. Leo gives his opinion to his fellow jury members. It looks like Leo's roommate Adam has something to say to the jury. Will Adam be on Leo's side, or will the pair butt heads? Suzanne Rogers proudly stepped on the Days of Our Lives soundstage 52 years ago this week, and Salem has never looked the same since. Maggie Horton is an icon in the daytime television landscape. Loyal, family-oriented, strong, stubborn, and full of grace. Portraying the same character for over 5 decades speaks volumes about Rogers' talent because she has a hidden secret to her soap opera success. She admits to Soaps.com that she is still nervous when she arrives on set each day. The nerves give me a sense of, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm always on my toes because I think you need to be nervous, Rogers explains. You need to have that energy, the energy from the nerves. It fuels me. It fuels me. Yes, absolutely. Rogers is ready to go any day she's on set, but there was one recent storyline that fired her up. Well, the one with Constantine. That's the one that I felt didn't serve the character, she reveals. It was hard for me to come into work and to pretend that I was attracted to this man, or maybe falling in love with him. Rogers believed it was too soon for Maggie to be embarking on a new romance because she just lost the love of her life after the death of Victor. She continues, "Now you're bringing this character in who is a little aggressive, and I felt he was too aggressive, and Maggie is no withering violet." Rogers divulges that she wasn't thrilled about the character at all because I love Victor, and all of a sudden, Constantine was trying to take Victor's place. Her dedication to Maggie and her storyline is tried and true, and that's why Rogers kept fighting the writers about the path they were paving for Maggie. I kept saying, with the scripts, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. She just lost the love of her life. And they said, you know, this is the script. Do the script. So yes, it was hard, she reflects. Days of Our Lives fans have Xander to thank for getting Constantine out of Maggie's life for good. And Rogers gave us the final hilarious word on Constantine. He kept bringing her gifts, and then she found out a lot of them were from bargain basement sales and whatever. Honey, Maggie's not bargain basement. No way, honey. Nope. On Days of Our Lives today, Monday, August 18th, 2025, Tony and Gabby iron out the details. Johnny makes a questionable decision, and Marlena takes a breather. At the Dimera mansion, Tony came upon EJ having a minor meltdown following a phone call. During the call, someone had informed him that the judge had approved Johnny's request to have EJ removed as his counsel. EJ sullenly declared, "My life is in ruins," to Tony. He brought his brother up to speed on the latest happenings with the trial, including Johnny's unceremonious dismissal of him. Both EJ and Tony agreed that Johnny's plan to represent himself was a terrible idea. Tony mentioned the video EJ had used against Chanel, and recalled seeing Rita and EJ with their heads together around the time the video had shown up at Belle's office. He correctly surmised that EJ had sent a doctored video to the DA. Tony scolded his brother for taking such extreme measures. EJ defended that he was willing to do whatever it took to clear his son. Tony harshly reminded EJ that those actions could personally cost EJ. He suggested the only way EJ could get back in Johnny's good graces would be to go against family tradition, admit what he had done, and beg for forgiveness. "Eat crow," EJ clarified with a huff. At Marlena's place, Belle expressed to Marlena how disappointed John would be in her for trying to send his namesake to prison. Marlena offered her daughter a comforting hug. She affirmed that John would be proud of Belle, But Belle continued lambasting herself for letting things progress so far with EJ. The conversation took a surprising turn when someone called to update Belle on Johnny firing EJ. After the call, Marlena wondered if the development could help Johnny's case. Belle concurred with Marlena's assessment that EJ had gone too far. She was also cautiously optimistic that Johnny could win his freedom if he could prove EJ's duplicity with the recording. She again swore off EJ. At Johnny and Chanel's place, Chanel arrived home to find Johnny studying the video of her confronting EJ. He was determined to prove the video was a fake. Chanel announced Johnny needed to drop it and focus on his defense. She only cared about clearing his name. The couple argued about the matter until Johnny stopped the conversation cold by divulging he had fired EJ as his attorney. Chanel didn't know what Johnny was thinking. Her outlook did not improve when Johnny added he would be defending himself going forward. Despite Chanel's reservations, Johnny pledged that he had the situation under control. He remained confident he was the best person to deliver a compelling closing argument that could win his case. Later, at the courthouse, Belle observed EJ brooding in the courtroom and strode up to inform him she knew about his dismissal from the case. Belle had no sympathy for him and noted that EJ had pushed Johnny away just as he had pushed her away. She considered it a sign from above that EJ had once again shown his true colors. Belle coldly told EJ to get used to the feeling of being alone and stalked off. Johnny and Chanel arrived next, and Johnny asked Chanel for a moment with his dad. EJ tried to explain himself, but Johnny read his father the riot act as well. He accused EJ of trying to drive a wedge between Chanel and him. EJ had wanted Johnny to make a choice between his wife and his father. Johnny told EJ he chose Chanel and then walked away, leaving EJ alone yet again. At the Brady pub, Kayla groused about EJ's latest budget for the hospital to Steve. He found one silver lining in EJ's hospital takeover: the hiring of Stephanie. Kayla wasn't convinced it was such a good thing, but she was happy that Stephanie was thriving professionally and personally. At the mention of Stephanie's personal life, Steve took the opportunity to fill Kayla in on Alex's police record. The tale of the toga amused Kayla, and she joked about Stephanie dating a hardened criminal. Before Kayla left for work, Steve requested her help on a case. Her enthusiasm for the task dissipated when Steve revealed it involved Titan DiMera, and specifically Stephanie's associations with Alex and Phlilip. Kayla insisted she would not betray her daughter's confidence. She was willing, however, to tell Steve about Stephanie's vague reasoning for breaking up with Phlilip. Steve theorized that the shady dealings going on at the company had started with Phlilip, and he worried Stephanie was caught in the middle of it. At Stephanie's apartment, Alex presented his girlfriend with a small cake to celebrate her book birthday. Stephanie beamed when Alex showed her a market-ready copy of One Stormy Night. As she looked through the book with pride, Alex assured her she would soon be a bestseller and a beach read sensation. Stephanie thanked him for his belief in her and rewarded him with a kiss. Alex had to cut the celebration short to get to work. He complained about Xander hounding him regarding a special project. Stephanie grew curious when Alex mentioned he was investigating someone by the alias of Daniel Lucas who had been looking into the company. After Alex left, Stephanie called Steve and asked him to meet with her. Later, Steve greeted Stephanie and asked what she needed. Stephanie immediately got to the point. She wanted to know why Steve was investigating a matter involving Alex. At first, Steve assumed Alex had told Stephanie about his police record. Stephanie was none too pleased to learn that her father had pried into Alex's background. Stephanie eventually got around to stating that when Alex had mentioned Daniel Lucas in relation to Titan DiMera, she had recognized the alias from stories Kayla had told Stephanie during her childhood about Steve. The detective confessed he was investigating the company, but he had no reason to believe his investigation would negatively impact Alex. Stephanie still wanted to give Alex a heads up. Steve asked his daughter to refrain from telling Alex anything. Steve wouldn't give Stephanie any details about the investigation because he'd be breaking client confidentiality. He theorized that Stephanie might have some knowledge of the turmoil at the company. Stephanie turned Steve's words back on him and said she couldn't disclose information told to her in confidence either. At Titan DiMera, Gabby informed Xander that she couldn't stop thinking about their kiss. When he tried to remind her it was a one-time only wine-induced occurrence, she quickly corrected that she felt terribly about it. Xander brushed it off as bad judgment on both their parts, but admitted that he considered Gabby a friend. He wanted her advice on picking a proper nanny for Victoria. After Xander finished listing all the potential problems with the nanny he had hired, Gabby deadpanned, "The only problem I see is you." Gabby lightly chided Xander about being a control freak, both with Victoria and with the business. She suggested he let her help out in the latter regard by offering ideas to improve Titan Demera. Before she could get any further, Alex arrived at the door and Gabby made her exit. As soon as Xander learned of Alex's inability to find out the identity of Daniel Lucas, he deemed Alex a failure. Alex protested that he didn't have a way to uncover the mystery person's identity. Xander confided he had a pretty good idea of who had put the investigator on their trail, the Dimeras. He thought they'd been lucky to have the roots of the family strife remain undetected for so long, and he wanted to keep it that way. Xander then instructed Alex to bring Stephanie on board to work for them. Alex wasn't certain he could, but Xander insinuated Alex didn't have a choice. Back at the Demera mansion, Gabby paid a visit to Tony and updated him on her progress with Xander. She wanted a written agreement detailing the terms of their deal. Tony obliged her and presented a pleased Gabby with a signed paper promising her the CEO position at Titan Demera, along with perks Gabby had demanded. At the hospital, Kayla was supportive after Marlena said she would be taking a leave of absence from the hospital. While she still intended to see a few patients privately, Marlena didn't believe she could truly help anyone else until she helped herself. She admitted to still being disturbed about the dreams she was having of Stefano. Kayla suggested Susan's focus on Stefano could have triggered the dreams. She gave a grateful Marlena contacts for grief counselors, but Marlena remained troubled.